Good evening and greetings, everybody. I want to welcome you here to the Prog Monster. This is a channel that is dedicated to progressive rock. My name is Murph, and I am the host of this show. So we're here with Monday nights to look back at a classic rock album. This is a show I do every Monday night in which I take an album that's 15 years or older, that's maybe a 2 for me, or 1, or maybe a masterpiece, and I review it. I talk about it more than review it. That's kind of what I do. So the album we've chosen tonight is Kiss's Love Gun, their 6th studio album, one of the original 6 studio albums, which I think kind of were what I would call, along with the 2 Alive albums and the 4 solo albums, I consider this classic Kiss. So anyways, we're going to talk a little bit about this album. Released June the 30th, 1977. Recorded at the record plant in New York City. About 33 minutes in length on the Casablanca label. Produced by Eddie Kramer and Kiss themselves. Featured on this album, of course, Ace Frehley on lead guitar. Rhythm guitar and bass, at least the bass part on Shock Me anyways. You have, and he also did vocals on this album, the first one in which he did vocals on. You got Paul Stanley on rhythm guitar. He does play bass on one track, and I want to say it's Love Gun, but I'm not 100% sure. And he also was a lead vocalist as well, as Ace Frehley doing lead vocals on one song, Paul also doing lead vocals. Then you got Peter Criss on the drums and lead vocals, and Gene Simmons on bass and lead vocals. And I believe Gene Simmons also plays a rhythm guitar on one, or does play some guitar on one of the songs. And I want to say I think it's Christine 16, but I could be wrong. Anyways, also appearing on here, guest musicians Eddie Kramer playing keyboards on I Stole Your Love, Christine 16, and Love Gun. Tasha Thomas, Ray Simpson, Hilda Harris, all doing backing vocals on Tomorrow and Tonight. And then Jimmy Malin doing the Congo drums on Almost Human. So there are, of course, 10 tracks on this. That's pretty standard for Kiss. I think most of their early albums anyways had 10 songs, tend to be the way in which you go. In fact, to be honest, I've been trying to think about that. I don't think any of the albums, with the exception of Destroyer, which had 9 songs, I think the other albums all had 10. Okay, so I Stole Your Love is the beginning of this album, the first track on this album. I love this version of it, but I think the live version on Kiss Alive 2 is probably better. Christine 16, another great tune. Yeah, I know there's some people that are calling this a bit of a pedophile song. I'm not going to get into that. The thing was written in 77. Nobody would have thought of that then, but I guess you're held to standards well above your head. Got Love for Sale. This is one of the lesser tracks, probably the song that I would say maybe a deep cut. It might even be a throw-in. You might want to call it like a filler. It's not a bad song, though. It's just, I think they just kind of threw it in there to fill up some space. Shock Me, of course, is Ace Frehley's breakout song with the heavy guitar solo and his voice. People were surprised how good he was. I thought he was great. I thought the song was great. I love this song. The Shock Me live is probably better, but still, this one's a good one. Tomorrow and Tonight, this is a bit of a rocking song. So Tomorrow and Tonight, Plaster Caster, Christine 16, Got Love, those songs, Christine 16, Tomorrow and Tonight, and Plaster Caster, they got that kind of 1950-ish flavor to them. You know, this is kind of a rock and roll song. It's not so much of that rock sound. So yeah, this album maybe the most kind of 1950-ish sounds to it over all of their original albums. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So you got Tomorrow and Tonight. This is a kind of a party anthem type track. Love Gun, of course, one of their big songs off of this album that gets a lot of airplay, has always been one of the kind of staples for the concert. This is the one that Stanley takes that thing and rides it around on the audience. Fantastic tune, and I think one of his best. Hooligan, maybe not one of the better Peter Criss songs, but not a terrible song. I think they put it in there basically to give Peter some vocals. It's just unfortunate that the best songs by Peter Criss, or the best songs by Kiss, are those kind of ballad stuffs that Peter Criss does. The guy has a fantastic voice. I wish they would let him sing more, but he just, and probably the reason why he thought he should be singing more, he didn't get it, so he moved on. Almost Human, another one of those kind of interesting tracks. It's a different track for this album. Doesn't really seem to be similar to the rest of the album, but I like it. It's probably Gene's best on this album, I think. I like it better than Christine 16. You got Plaster Caster. That's another one of those 50 songs, probably a throw on. And then they ran out of songs, so they threw Then She Kissed Me on here, which is a cover from the 1970s, 1960s, I mean, or maybe it was even his 50s, but I think it was his 60s. Yeah. So he got a few covers, but on the whole, pretty solid album for them. You know, if I'd done this when the album came out, I would have told you it was their best album, because the first year when it was out, I thought it was their best album. I've since kind of relegated it down to near the bottom, at least in the original 6 albums. But still a solid album. And I got, this is those original 6 Kiss albums plus the two live albums. I've probably, and I think it's reasonable for me to say this, that I've listened to them at least 1,000 times, all of them, because they were the only band I was listening to. I sometimes would play one of their albums 7, 8, 10 times in a row in one day, and this one I remember doing that on several occasions. So, yep, and of course the album cover is fantastic. It may be the best Kiss cover. I like it the best. Same guy did Destroyer, and you rearranged the characters a little bit, but I just think that it really kind of gives it kind of a godlike atmosphere to it. The album production's not that great. It's not terrible, but it's not that great. Songs are, I think, kind of average for even for Kiss. Anyways, that's the album for tonight that we're doing. Kiss Love Gun from 1977. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Look Back at a Classic Rock Album. If you want to hit the like and subscribe, that would be much appreciated. You can hit the notification bell if you want to be notified of our content. Also, if you have any comments about what I've said about the album Love Gun or Kiss in general, you can put those in the comment section below. I try to answer all reasonable stuff, even if it's a little bit unreasonable. I'll sometimes answer it anyways, but not always. And we will see you next Monday for another look back at another classic rock album. So take care and have yourself a good evening. Goodbye.